Well, there's been a very significant decline in the revenue. First of all, I want to thank the people of Nairobi because this year we have hit a revenue record of 12.8 billion shillings, never performed by any county since the advent of devolution. We had planned that it be at least 13 billion, which is what we'd have gotten if we didn't have the unrest last week, the final week of the financial year. But we were able to at least get to 12.8. There are days that we went as low as 10 million, and a week where we should be collecting 85 million shillings a day. And those are the resources that really are for serving the people of Nairobi. And so I want to thank our people. Our young people have expressed themselves. They've expressed themselves loudly. The freedom to express themselves is something that I've said repeatedly. I said 2 weeks ago when I was in Kiumbuini groundbreaking for the new stadium, that is a sacrosanct right that needs to be protected, and we should not suppress it at all. We should allow people to express themselves. Unfortunately, a lot of those were infiltrated, by goons. They burned City Hall, they burned Parliament, they went into installations that they should not have gone to. And you could see a clear distinction between the Gen Z who are really expressing their opinions on matters of governance, vis-a-vis those who are mugging people and robbing people. I saw a clip on Tuesday of alleged goons coming out of City Hall, which I asked that to be investigated. I myself was in the coast. We've been there for the whole week with our cabinet, just doing our end of year retreat and replanning for this new financial year. The financial year ends in June, and I would hate it that something like that would have been planned from City Hall, from wherever it is. Normally when you're in such a situation, the first casualty is the truth. And when the first casualty is the truth, opportunistic politicians even try to bring themselves into such, a move to taint their opponents, And so if somebody would try to claim that I, the governor, was meeting people to plan violence in City Hall, while one, I was in Diani, number one, with my cabinet from Sunday. I've just come back this morning. And number two, I have always believed in siasa safi. I've always believed in that freedom of expression, even when it is not within my political side of the equation. You remember a few years ago, I released, or rather I sought the release of an opposition politician who was incarcerated, and that was because he had insulted the president. Because I believe people should express themselves, and so and anyone would try to make it look like it's you by doing it from City Hall. If you were to do such a thing, you would not do it in plain sight, and from where you work, you would not do it that way. And so I really condemn that. I condemn those who hurt other young people, those who destroyed businesses. We have buildings that burnt in the city. At some point, these people were preventing our fire engines from coming out of the fire station on Tomboya Street, and that is why some of those buildings really went down. And I want to thank the young people, because you have seen, you saw the Senate yesterday, we saw the stance that now leaders are taking, that it has created an opportunity for deep reflection and action by government. I was very happy to see people refusing vehemently salary increments. That has never happened in the Republic of Kenya. And really we need to be prudent in our use of these resources, because the leadership is a trust from the people on their behalf. Okay. Number one, on the reduction that is being proposed, unfortunately, the proposal to amend the county allocation of revenue does not amend the division of revenue. DORA is not amended through the county allocation. County allocation just divides amongst counties. But the split between what the national government gets and what the county governments get is done in the division of revenue bill. That cannot be amended, actually. If you look at Article 219 of our Constitution, it says that where there's a shortfall, and even the PFM says that where there's a shortfall in the resources that have been passed by Parliament to the counties, the national government is supposed to bear that shortfall. Our record revenue, Nairobi City County hitting 12.8 billion, and Nairobi Water actually breaking the 10 billion barrier. We have closed at 10.7 billion shillings, has been because of digitization and reducing the channels of corruption. When you have no cash policy, a no cash policy, that everything comes directly into the system, to our banks and to the county revenue fund, then you find that a lot of wastage and pilferage, where people would collect money, in cash, whether it is parking fees, using technology, we've been able to reduce that. We are now doing regularization of buildings for those who had constructed buildings without prior approvals. That will rake in a lot of more resources that we can use to, increase water. I'm very happy that we've been able to now get the Northern Collector concluding in the next few weeks, $1 million for Northern Collector 2 and Maragua 4, so that we increase 200 million liters of water, so that when people see where their money goes to, they're happy to pay. If you have a business and you've paid for a permit and you can see the place being cleaned, you can see this green army coming to collect the garbage, then you're incentivized to actually pay it because it's value for your money. But before, when services are not being offered, people would then not want to pay. So we've made it convenient, and we're able to show the services that we're offering to the people of Nairobi. And this year, I'm so confident we're going to hit 20 billion. Yeah. This year, I'm confident we'll get to 20 billion. And it's not just money, just to say tunaokota tu for the sake of kokota, but to serve these people of Nairobi. We are at an advanced stage of sorting out a Biashara fund, where with 100 million shillings that covers for interest and collateral for the banks, we're going to get 1.5 billion. But then we'll give business people, young people, and our women in our markets, etc. If you go today to Mutwini, you will see a market almost concluded at 244 million shillings. Our stadium today at Dandora, the business that young people are able to do because of that new stadium, that cost us 275 million shillings. The matatu people who are there, those who are selling snacks, etc. That is what is going to happen in Woodley when we conclude Kiumbuini and City Stadium. So a lot of this is ongoing, and I would really appreciate if we can organize even a round table for us to sit down and explain to people what we are doing with the capital city of Kenya. So nawashukuru sana for covering that and for being in solidarity with a country called Kenya, because that is where we draw our allegiance to our country. Asanteni sana.
Governor, maybe before you leave, the residents of Kawangware complaining about that garbage.
Yes.
In Kawangware, would you have to tell them?
It's the same explanation that I've given in the Senate about just the contractors vis-a-vis the fuel. There is that one in Salim Road and Kitanga Road. It is going to be cleared, but also agreeing with the CBOs on which are these sites and when to dump that site. Because when you bring out garbage and it's all the day that the truck is coming, then it starts piling up. In 2-3 days, it brings a lot of negative effects to the environment. And so we're just working out those logistics. Nairobi County government is going to move to actually create the agency of solid waste management. We've signed with China National Electric and Engineering 50 billion program on waste to energy, where we can produce 45 megawatts of power from our dump site in Dandora. That will transform how we collect garbage, and we can restore the glory. When I was a kid, this city was what we called the green city under the sun, and we must get back to that. We've engaged Kenya Power to plant trees, because they had cut down so many trees because of power lines, and they were going to plant trees in Naivasha, and I told them no. Number one, all approvals for tree cutting are given by the governor himself. I moved that authority from the director of forestry, because we must maintain our environment in this city. We want green spaces. We want places where people can express themselves, can play. Our kids, we're putting money in playgrounds now. We're going to put swings and slides all across our estates, because we must bring back that aspect of recreation. Yeah.